It's beautiful.
What was that? Can you repeat that, Jason?
No.
I'm not sure what we were talking about. Oh, hi, Tim. Hi, Julia. How are you guys tonight? Welcome to Spilling Ink Live. It's another beautiful Saturday evening. At least I think it is. I wouldn't know because I haven't left the house in, 8 weeks or whatever now. Uh,
Although
but
I have
it's
to say, Jason, before we go on, that snippet, that TikTok video you posted about the the people coming to work and breaking COVID quarantine,
yes.
that
Well,
was
Yes.
hilarious.
it's funny is that that actually happens, and people have told me, why didn't you just lock the doors? Well, sometimes we have to leave the clinic, walk out to the client's car, talk to them about their animal, and then bring the animal inside. But while we're out at their car, it's like another car will like ninja its way in, and then the people will jet for the door before I've had a chance to lock it. Like, boom, now they're in our lobby. Now I'm mopping the lobby again. I'm like, damn it. But yeah, that was a lot of fun making that TikTok video.
My favorite part, though, was you running out the door with the toilet paper flying from your backside as you trip and fall. That was the best part.
That was great. I was nearly crying when I hit the ground though because I didn't know it at the time. I didn't know it till the next day, but I actually have a broken rib. That we don't know how I broke it. I went to the doctor and be like, man, there's something wrong, and he was like, yeah, it's broken. I was like, damn it, and I'm throwing myself on the ground the day before for the stupid TikTok video. Oh, but welcome to the show, everybody. The lovely Katie Trainwreck Solitis is going to do our official show introductions today. Take it away, Katie. Oh, you're on that
After
side.
that lovely introduction, thank you so much, Jason. All right, well, welcome everybody to another live edition of Spilling Ink. We are the talk show that takes you behind the book to meet the authors and professionals in the publishing industry. And before we get started, we need to make a shout out to our sponsor, Creative Edge Publicity. They are our generous contributors that help us to get this show on both YouTube and Facebook live at the same time so we can see all of your beautiful comments. So, Creative Edge is your brand, your future. They are the advocates of collaboration and believers in partnership in the ever-changing literary industry. How'd I do there? Is that good?
Ooh, I think you did pretty well. And on a personal note, guys, they aren't just our sponsors. I am one of Creative Edge's clients. So I pay for their publicity services, and I have been very impressed so far. It's only been a couple months, and I have just got so much stuff on my schedule, and it's fantastic. So I'm really happy with them. And if you are looking for a publicist and you don't necessarily make $1 million a year, I would suggest giving them a shout. But we have two wonderful guests tonight, both of whom have never been on the show before. We have the beautiful and talented J.E. Taylor. J.E., how are you tonight?
I'm good. I'm not a guest though.
Wait, but you're representing your publishing house today.
But as part of Novel Concept Publishing with Jason Halstead here, yes, I guess I'm stepping into the limelight as the publisher.
Well, welcome to the show. We're very happy to have you on. Now, our next guest is the reason that I had to change my name, Mr. Jason Halstead, also from Michigan, and I feel like something has got to be breaking in the universe right now. There can't be two Jasons from Michigan, but Jason, how's it going tonight?
Going well so far.
Excellent. You look like a buff military guy. Are you a buff military guy?
I am a former competitive weightlifter and a former Air Force veteran, yes.
All right, then. There we go. We nailed it.
I guess so.
Well, welcome.
So pretty much.
So Jason and Jane, tell us about your partnership, because I've never met Jason before and I've never spoken to him. So tell us all about it.
Well, we met while we were under Accessica, yes.
You hurt me badly, by the way.
Yes.
Oh,
I edited your
okay.
book, and I'm sure every time you
I told you, Julia.
on my edits, you turn the color of my walls. He's the one that dubbed me bitch with a red pen.
Oh, she does talk about you.
Yes, he gave me my nickname. So You know, and when Accessica went to a co-op instead of a publisher, we had been talking and you know, we're like, do we want to start a publishing house? Well, okay. So Novel Concept Publishing was born. And, you know, he does all the business and money managing, and, you know, I do the client and editing and acquisitions. So
How many people are you guys publishing aside from your own stuff and obviously our stuff that we co-wrote together too?
right now, I think it's 4.
Okay.
We had been up to 8 or 9,
Yeah,
but
you
you know,
can, but
unfortunately, two of our published authors passed away in the
Oh
tenure.
no.
You know, one from cancer and the other one just from old
heart
age,
attack. Yeah.
heart attack, old
Okay.
age. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
yeah, those were kind of hard losses.
Wow.
So
Boy,
what's it
but-
like though to take on a client and to agree to publish them? Like what are your criteria?
It has to catch my interest.
Yeah. Ultimately, they've got to be interesting. They have to write something that you know hooks you and makes it something that you would want to read and be interested in and want to see it improve and get better and say, you know, okay, this isn't. I kind of like where you're going with this, but can we make this better? Can we make it into something that we can do something with and we can help you out with? Because it's more than just saying, okay, no, I want to read this. It's seeing something and seeing somebody that, you know, we feel that, hey, we can make you better. We can help you succeed.
And how hands-on are you when it comes to taking a client's work and reworking it or getting them to rework it to make it ready for publication?
Mostly Jane gets stuck with that. I attempted it a few times and, you know, I found myself quite caught up in it. Very much trying to really help them out. And I worked with 1 or 2 guys, I guess only one guy that we didn't really saw it all the way through, but we did a co-author kind of thing. And I was really working hard with him to try and help him advance to the next level and make it so that he could evolve out of that and go on to succeed on his own. And I know he attempted to do so. We haven't really kept up. We're still on great terms and everything, but we haven't kept up that much to see how well he's doing. But it was a good experience for both of us.
Yeah, and I'm very interactive with the authors. You know, I know one of the ones who passed away. He used to call me, and we used to talk through my notes and, you know, go back and forth. And I'd explain why I wanted him to do something, and he'd explain why it was, and we'd usually meet in the middle.
Was it?
Okay.
Was that Bob or Mark?
That was Bob.
Okay, I could see
Yes.
that.
That's often the
Well,
most
I have
tender
a-
part of
Yes.
getting a novel ready is that editing phase, because you know there can be a lot of raw feelings for an author when they see notes, which are always intended to make their work better, but there can sometimes be that miscommunication or argument over whether or not they should apply those notes. So how do you handle that?
From an editor standpoint,
Yeah, pushback from an author regarding notes.
well, I mean, as I said, the conversations back and forth with Bob were pretty productive on both sides, and, you know, coming to a common ground. I know I made Shannon, who's the author of FBI booklet or books, on one of them change her ending. I'm like, this will not fly. You will lose your readers. and that was a tough conversation. So I'm like, you can't have all of this unless you're ending things, you know. And she's like, no, I want to go on. I said, then you have to change it in a way that's satisfying for something to somewhat end, which, you know, in the beginning I was not good at in my own stories. And I know Darren threw a book across the room at me once and said, you cannot end it like that. So,
Now,
Well, we
when
have
Jane
a
edited
great
my
question.
first book, I got the impression that you know, I hadn't seen any pictures of her. I didn't know anything, but I had this image of her in my head of her wearing either black or red leather with a whip of 9 tails, and delighting in the blood
you,
that she
Julia?
spilled off of my back. So
Nice.
Not far off from the truth. I mean, that's,
no,
Jane on the
Nice,
weekends.
nice. I like it.
And
Now
I
we
don't
have.
pull any punches. I don't try to soften the blow, which,
no.
maybe that's the business analyst side of me. Okay, this is the facts. This is, what's wrong. This is what you need to do.
Jane, though, I absolutely love that when working with you, because as beta reading for your books, I know I can just tell you straight out. I don't have to soften anything, because you'll do the same thing when beta reading for me. It's like, no, this has to change. Do this. That doesn't work,
No, you need to kill people.
Well, we have a question from the audience here, from Joe from Go Indie Now, and it kind of ties in with a question that I have for you. My question was for you regarding submissions. We always tell people, it's really important you hook your reader on the first chapter. However, as an editor, as someone who works for a publishing company, owns a publishing company, if you're getting, hundreds of submissions or thousands of submissions, how important is it for people to hook you on the very first page? Because you're not necessarily going to read through 20 pages if that first couple pages doesn't snag you, are you? And then Joe asks, in reading submissions, what's one of the most common mistakes you see often from authors these days?
Data dumps that are boring.
Okay.
I mean, I need action. I need something intriguing, and I need something, as Jason said, that hooks me. And I've done editorships for Allegory Ezine for years, and if somebody doesn't hook me in that first paragraph or second paragraph to pull me into the story, you've got to pull me along, because my attention span for reading nowadays has gotten really short. So you have to be really good to get me to commit to reading the whole thing.
Here's a follow-up on that. To prologue or not to prologue?
I don't care about the prologue if it captures me.
Okay.
Yep.
If it's paramount to the story at some point, I don't mind that. But
and the prologues that I love the ones like, and some people hate these, I know, but like Clive Cussler with his where he does the prologue that's actually 100 years in the past, some kind of historical event, and then you get to the story because that ties into the story later. I absolutely love that, because I'm like, the whole time I'm like, when is this going to come back into play? It's going to be amazing. So I mean, I love prologues. Some people hate them though. Some editors hate prologues and epilogues. Why is that?
I don't know. It just, if it doesn't capture you.
I think that's the thing though. Prologues are often used as info dumps.
Yeah.
And that's what editors tend to not like. If it's like what you're saying, Jason, where it's an integral note to the story that you need to know, then sure, because it doesn't fit within the linear chapters. But if it's just there to dump info so you can get everything before you start a book, and most people want to skip over it and just start the book.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to know the right place to start the book. Because in some cases, if it's not the right moment, it doesn't capture readers either.
Yeah. Well, and like we're not all Stephen King. We can't take 100 pages to really get into something good. We're little guys. You got to do it right now. What were you going to say, Jason? Sorry.
Julia says they can often be deleted or made into chapter 1. That's true too. If a prologue might as well be a chapter 1, then just call it a chapter 1.
I think the only other thing I would really say is a deal breaker is the character has to be identifiable. It's got to be something that I can feel something in common with. Man, woman, doesn't matter, as long as I can identify with and there's some sort of a shared commonality or traits or experience or something that I can put myself in their shoes. Whereas somebody who just comes out, hey, I'm Captain America and do anything, I don't give a shit about you. You're no fun to me because you can't advance. You can't learn and experience new things.
Well, and that's maybe something that the three of you, who probably have a lot more technical experience than I do with this, might be able to follow up on. What makes a character relatable to someone? Because for me, it's their emotions and the struggles they're going through that I'm like, oh, I relate to that. I get that now. I can feel like that. But what kind of things do you look for that make a character relatable, or do you suggest to your authors that they do to make that character, more relatable to readers?
You incorporate visceral reactions into whatever the character is doing. So that relates the emotions and the physical manifestations of the emotions instead of telling
I was just
the
going to say, explain
the
visceral
show,
for
not
everybody.
tell. The show, not tell. and make me care about the character.
Flaws. The characters have to be flawed. They have to be people. They have to have quirks and traits and things that you look at that and you say, oh, you cringe because you've done that, or somebody who's done that, and you stay awake late at night because you go over that time you did that stupid thing in your head. And the characters have to have that too. They have to do these same things where you're like, yeah, I know how you feel because I did that and that was dumb.
Yeah,
What
a
about you,
character
Katie?
that's
What do you think?
relatable to a reader is a character that a reader is going to want to follow.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I speaking as a author, not a publisher, I wrote The Lost Girls. It's a book where my main character is a man-hating lesbian, and I have received a lot of fan mail about that, from women stating that they don't believe that I could have written that because I'm not obviously a man-hating lesbian. How could a guy write this? How could you do this? And I'm sorry, but I did. It's it's not. We're all people. We the plumbing, I don't think really matters that much. It's we're all have shared experiences, and there's no reason why we can't all put ourselves in somebody else's shoes, and that's just the trick to do.
In a way,
Well,
you
that's-
almost become the character you're writing about while you're writing about them. And if you can really step into their shoes, you create a better representation for your reader.
Is looking at
Yeah.
me, you get I'm a former motorcycle riding, all these stereotypes that probably apply to me. I'm not a very emotional guy, but when it comes to writing my stuff, yes, I get into character, and there have been times where I have to wipe my cheeks because I got into character too much with them.
And that's what I beat you up on in the beginning. Some of that.
Yeah.
What's the
It's Jane's fault that I cry.
going on the crying here? What's the hardest thing you've had to tell your author while editing them?
We got a couple of editors in the comments too that could probably chime in on this.
Or in the case of Jason, I had to tell him at one point a woman would react like that.
Yeah.
This is how they would react.
I have some sex scenes in some of my books that I've run through female beta reader several times just to get their feedback, and they've told me things similar that a woman wouldn't do that. They don't feel that. We need to edit this so it's more like this. And I'm like, okay, well, and that those weren't hard things to hear. It was just like, okay, good. It's good for me to understand this because I'm writing from a different place, so that's good. Hi Kendra. Say hi, Ayla.
Oh, yep. Hi, Kendra.
Oh yeah, I'm drinking Old Tennessee, or wait, Old Smoky.
Old Smoky, caramel whiskey.
Yes, salted caramel whiskey. Oh my God, is it good? Kendra, seriously, you really got to get some of this.
That is good stuff.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Very good stuff.
That's the last of the bottle.
Oh,
Little fiddle.
Oh yeah, breaking out the world's smallest violin.
You were saying,
All right, Jason, you were saying something.
Yeah, I was, but I don't remember what it was because I got distracted by the caramel whiskey.
God damn it.
Yes. Well, I wanted to say that's kind of, you mentioned that some of your mail said that, you couldn't possibly have written that because that's not who you are. But I think that something that's important for people to remember is that this is our jobs. When we are when we are in writing mode, it is our jobs to write as whatever character we're doing. And if that character isn't doesn't present the same way that we do, that's okay. We can still write about them, and we don't have to pretend that we own that space or know everything about that person or culture or anything else. But we do know that character because it's our character, and I think that's something that certain readers sometimes forget, is that we're just making this shit up. It's all in our heads. We could do what we want. It's us.
Yeah, I mean, I write in both female and male perspectives in my book, so it's like, and then I get my husband's feedback. Would they do this? And not, and he kind of looks at me. I don't know. I'm surprised. My son, I've gone back. He sent me a short story 3 times. I've gone back each time, giving him more edits and more opportunities that he's missed.
God, I would hate that so much. Oh, poor boy.
Son, but now I'm starting to get
poor
harder.
boy.
But it's actually a pretty good sci-fi fantasy that he's writing. So I'm just pushing him harder and harder and making him get deeper and deeper into emotions instead of telling, and and get the senses in there, not just visuals. So
well, what do you guys read to recharge? Like, not like beta reading, not reading for work. Like, what's your pleasure reading? What's your go-to? Also, Kendra, it's probably time for Ayla to get some new earrings too. Maybe some fancy ones with spiders on them. Sorry, that's a friend of mine. Yeah. So pleasure reading. What do you guys do? I mean, you got favorite genres or anything?
I read urban fantasy or horror. I mean, it's I'm kind of eclectic in that way. And then I have, military grades fiction too. So
Yeah, I'm kind of all over the place. As much as this baffles people, I really don't care for Stephen King very much. But Dean Koontz is probably my all-time. He's the guy that I bow down and worship. Just seeing the way he strings words together, it just blows my mind. But at the same time, you mentioned Clive Cussler, or not? Yeah, Clive Cussler. I'm a huge fan of his, and was sad to see him go. I don't think his son carries the same weight that he does. But recently, I think one of the most recent books I read was Rebecca Rowanhorse. That's kind of I don't even know what genre that fits in. It's definitely a fantasy, sci-fi kind of thing, and I really, really enjoyed her too.
Well,
yeah,
cool.
I've been doing a lot of romance too. So just.
Well, and I've been reading some different stuff. Becca. It's been such a long day. I can't even do Rebecca's voice. I'm sorry. Rebecca says, I've had beta readers come back and tell me women don't have sex like that, feel that. And I had to be like, oh, honey, no. Rebecca is, from my understanding, Rebecca is probably the most experienced person on the planet. Just from her comments, I'm like, okay, Rebecca knows everything about everything pretty much when it comes to sex.
It makes her an excellent editor for naughty stories, though.
It sure does. I told her I needed a hot, steamy sex scene written for something, and I'm sure she's on it. I've been reading some different stuff. I actually picked up, it's not Strangers, it's Travelers by V.S. Holmes. And it's about an archaeologist and this crazy adventure, and it's really, really kind of cool and different. And then I read more of a drama by Victoria Schwab that was up on NetGalley called The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and that was cool. But different for me, and I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to push myself out from where I usually was, which is, Michael Crichton, Stephen King, Dean Koontz, Clive Barker, so that I can, and I feel the more I read outside of my genres, the better I'm going to be able to write. So that's my goal right now.
Now you have the whole Steve Williams series for me.
Yes, that's right. That'll actually be next up. I've got like hundreds of books on my TBR list, but I'm like, whatever's most recent in my memory, that's what I end up reading. Well,
Get on
Katie, have you done any reading lately? Have you had time at all, or no?
Reading for pleasure? No.
Yeah.
A
I
lot
know
of the
you're reading
freelance
one of
work that I've
mine.
been doing is like manuscript critiquing and book layouts. So I'm reading a lot of client work. I'm definitely enjoying your story though, Jason. This is
Well,
my
thank
second
you.
run through on it because you sent me the book years ago and I
Yeah,
got to
I
read
know.
it. And
They
now
have
I
the
get to
spider on the front. I can't read spiders.
But
be a part of the editing process. So I'm having even
yes.
more fun as a critiquer now.
Well, what's awesome, and I've got to tell you this, and this is a huge shout out for Three Furies Press, who is actually publishing Pathosis, and I think the next book, maybe we haven't really talked about it, but anyhow, I am having a really hard time with anxiety lately, and so I'm just I told the bosses, I was like, look, I don't know if I can do dev edits. I don't know if I can get through developmental edits. Um, and they said, hey, would you trust us enough to just go through and do this work? And I was like, yeah, yeah. I mean, you're my publisher. That's why you're my publisher. And so they've been doing all this hard work to make this book the best it could be. And now Katie's helping me to edit, and a couple other people are going to be helping. And they're just taking all this work and they're doing it for me because I'm not in a place mentally where I can handle it. And it's just like, I've never worked with a company that would do that for me, that's so accommodating. And it's a really good feeling to know
And
that you're
I
with
wouldn't
a
be
company
afraid
that
of
cares.
I wouldn't be afraid of the developmental edits. I mean, you have a great story and you know it's a great story. So a little spit and polish on it isn't going to it's not going to be detrimental. I think when you go through and you see some of the comments and notes, it'll actually make you smile because there are many moments in there. And when I do critiques, I always put the happy moments along with the bad ones. But there are many moments where I'm just
That's
laughing out
important.
loud, or I'm like, "Oh my god, this is great! This is a perfect line." Because I want to make sure that, especially when I do critiques for clients, that they see the good, not just the bad.
That's awesome, and that's important. Just include some positive stuff too. Otherwise, your authors are going to want to kill themselves and then call you the bitch with the red pen.
I think I tried.
Uh,
He can tell better than whether I said good things or not.
well,
I was
and
just brutal.
well, and editing is so hard anyway. I mean,
Mhm.
when you're editing your own story and going through before you even start submitting it to publishers, it's stressful because you're trying to make it so perfect and there's so much of you in it, and then somebody else goes and opens it up with their red pen, Jane, and oh my gosh, it can hurt sometimes. It really can. We talk about having thick skin, but some of us don't know how to grow that thick skin or just haven't grown it yet. So it could be a really daunting process.
Now,
Yeah,
I
but
always recommend a glass of wine with edits,
I learned that I
maybe
can't
something
self-edit
stronger.
because
oh, go ahead, Jason.
I know what I learned. I can't self-edit. I know what I meant to write, and that's what I see when I read.
Mhm.
So I will miss virtually everything that's wrong with it, from typos to uh, other errors, and I require a third set of eyes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Stop
I
clicking
mean,
at the same time as me, Katie.
Sorry. But we all do. We know what we meant to say. So you have to
Yeah.
have that extra set of eyes look at it.
You know.
Yeah. Well,
oh
and
yeah.
it's just it's kind of and it's if you think of it as in your head, you're having conversation with someone. Maybe you're having an argument. That's a good way to look at it. And in your head, what you need to say to make your point, right? But the words just don't come out quite right. Later
Mhm.
on in the shower, you figure out what they are. So the editor is that later on in the shower. They know what those words are supposed to be. They're gonna fix it for you. They're gonna tell you.
Well, they
Not
don't
that I've had
want
that
to.
many.
What did you mean here? Because you lost me.
Where
This
I
doesn't
like
make sense.
Were you drinking while writing?
well, I love this one from Joshua. When my brother proofreads, he leaves comments like, "Not the word you're looking for, dumbass." I was like, that's a brother. That's a brother right there. uh,
and if your editor knows you, they can be a little bit more lax with you. If you're working
Mhm.
for somebody you don't know at all, then you have to be as polite as possible with your comments.
You know, Wilson has a good point here. Wilson.
Oh no, there is
Nope.
enough to do the book.
Wilson says the good thing about focusing on short smut, there's not enough plot to need developmental editing.
Shout out to Wilson. Hey.
Well, I don't know where it went to take it off now. Oh, there we go. Oh,
Yeah,
goodness.
another thing when I get submissions that irks the hell out of me is somebody who doesn't know how to format things, and it's all just one text. It's like, nope, that you'll lose me there. So if you don't know how to do paragraph indents or just common general Word document formatting, you have lost me.
My pet peeve is people that don't know what they're talking about. I know there's the mantra that you don't need to know what, if you've never done it before, you can write about it. No, you can't.
Right.
There's a lot of research that needs
You
to
can
be
do
done.
research, or if you're like me, you can just have done a lot of really stupid things in your life. And go on to that. One way or another, there's ways to get around that.
Well, and certain things specifically, weaponry, people will come down hard on an author who doesn't get weaponry correct.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you're writing
Guns,
military
for
jargon.
sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I went shooting with somebody way back when I was doing the FBI agent. I'm like, I got to know how easy or how hard it is. I was okay with a little 22, but anything bigger than that, I mean, I couldn't hit a bullseye, if it was right there, because it was like, this little person being thrown by the kick of a gun.
See, and this is one of the reasons that I can claim my sword as a business expense.
Yes,
because
can.
I do
right.
practice with them so I can block out fights.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I heard that you ordered a new sword.
I did. I should have it next week.
Well,
I'll
tell
show
us
it on
about
the show.
Tell us all about it though, because you have the, what are they, short swords? Is that what you have already?
Oh,
I do.
A beautiful one before the show.
I do have my wooden training swords, which I bought at Combat Con a few years ago. And I have a lot of fun playing with those. My kids love sparring with those, and I've nearly broken my daughter's thumb with it because we'll really get into it. But I also do have a sword that I've had for years, which is above my desk right now, which I practice with, sort of. It's not a real like combat ready sword. It's not balanced. It's more for show than anything else. But this new one, I should be able to actually practice with. It'll be weighted properly. It's the right length for me, and I can't wait till it comes in. So next week I'll show you.
Is it a wooden one, or is it metal, or what is it?
No, it's a real sword. It's more of the Jian style. That it's double-edged. It's roughly, I want to say, 36 inches from tip to hilt, and it's one of the thinner blade style.
Okay.
So it'll be
That's
fun
cool.
to practice
Very
with.
cool.
I'm going to use it with Tai Chi so I can work the moves a little better.
Okay. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited. And supporting local artists. The sword, the person I bought the sword from, I met at Combat Con. He does all the swords, crafting them, doing the hilts, everything himself. So supporting local authors or local artists. Sorry.
Yeah, I've never blocked out fight scenes, but I've actually, asked my the cat's there again. I've actually done he hasn't been there the last couple of weeks.
She's been shy.
I've actually made my son, show me, or my son's teacher show me Jaquito moves to, get out of things and stuff like that. But yeah, and I can just visualize it in my head.
There's our cat butt.
Yep.
One of the other ways to work with like researching how to fight is to watch training videos too. You can, YouTube's filled with them, and you can watch how instructors teach the moves and watch how people spar with them, and you can use that visual aid to, write how it looks.
Yeah.
And then you can
and black belt. Oh, go ahead, Jason.
I'll say, and then you can take what you've learned and turn around and make fun of movies for doing things wrong. I can't tell you how many flaws I spotted in Jack Ryan from the training I.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, after years of watching black belt lessons and training and classes and stuff like that for my son. It's fun to watch multiples going at somebody and how they get out of it and how they disarm people when they have stuff and all of those training techniques. Just watching. I haven't done it because I would break.
It's fun if you can get somebody to practice with you. Like when I get the wooden swords out and I can have somebody, you know, really just have fun and, you know, practice through like a sword fight scene. It's a lot of fun to work on.
My brother and I, when we were little, used to, you know, we used to sword fights with PVC pipes or sticks or whatever we could find, of course. But I don't think it was a matter of having fun. I think we were legitimately trying to hurt each other. And it was just like, I mean, we were doing some dumb shit when we were young.
Yeah.
I had a friend. Playing hockey wasn't violent enough for us, so we would get wooden dowels, turn them into swords, and add some foam around them, and
Fusion
the pretext
sticks,
that it wasn't going to hurt as much. And we'd stay on the rollerblades and continue to whack at each other.
Yes, excellent.
Let me tell you, the pool noodles that you get, you know, at the summertime to just go at the pool and have fun, those make the most amazing play swords for kids. They can wail at each other all day long without getting hurt.
That's a pro tip right there. That's pro parenting right there.
If you don't put the wooden dowel in them, they will not hurt each other.
Yeah, I surprised my son one day after thing. There was a move that when somebody's coming down like that, you grab their arm and wrap it around and then kneel, and they go down. And they were doing it slow in class. And I said, come here, let's try that. And I did it, and I did it fast. And he's laying on the ground looking at me, Mom, you're not supposed to do it fast. I'm like, yes, you are. So I did pick up some of the stuff. And I pretty much picked it accurately, but I didn't do it slow. So
I'm telling you, Regine, the pool
Regine
noodles are perfectly safe.
My kids will find a way. They'll strangle each other with them or something. I don't know. Well, Joe asks if he's the only one that doesn't or remembers Bloody Knuckles. I remember Bloody Knuckles, man.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't want to play Bloody Knuckles with me. I've got like ginormous, you know, frickin' meat hands. It was terrible. Oh yeah, Bloody Knuckles. God, we did some dumb stuff back in the day, didn't we?
Oh yeah,
we really did.
That was back when lawn darts were a thing too.
Yeah, oh yeah, we had those. Yep.
Bloody Knuckles?
Yep. I remember my kids know what airsoft guns are.
My husband did it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he did. That was just a thing. So my kids have on occasion shot airsoft guns at each other, but back in my days it was BB guns. It was like you're hunting with BB guns over each other. And if you get hit, you should have hit better.
Well, paint guns hurt too.
Those hurt too.
Not that really.
I haven't done it before, but it looks fun.
Paintball is so much fun.
I've been shot a few times and didn't realize it and got yelled at like I was cheating, and I just didn't know I got shot. So
Yeah, the gun's pretty way down then.
One of my first jobs.
They had the guns turned down way down then.
One of my first jobs, they wanted to do a team building exercise and took us all out paintballing.
Yep.
That was a bad idea.
Sweet.
no,
Yeah.
at my day job, they won't for team building events. We do those from time to time. Not presently, of course, but I keep recommending let's go to a firing range. Let's go to do paintball. Let's go to axe throwing at a place like that. They refuse to take me anywhere where there are pointy weapons. Firearms, anything that I could turn on somebody.
It's probably a safe bet.
Yeah, well,
Sounds like it's a safe bet.
They did the paintball thing. I didn't go. My husband did. So.
I did, and I shot my boss in the back about 8 times. And the next day, when I was greeting him, I gave him a good slap across the back when I said good morning.
Well, Rebecca, that's what we were saying. Nowadays they use airsoft. We used to use BB guns. We didn't use 22s. I think that was a step too far. But
Yeah, that's
Rebecca's a savage. My kids are actually we're cleaning out our shed in the back because we bought some chickens, and so I'm gonna convert it into a little bit of a chicken coop. And so we're cleaning it out. And they found my two air rifles that are back there. And so now while I'm at work, my wife has been teaching them how to shoot in the backyard, and they're having a blast. I'm like, awesome, man! They're always showing me their targets and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, how did we get off topic again?
Well, Joe said squirrel, so I figured that meant we had to take a jog there.
So we get to blame Joe this time.
That's right. Well, I did want to ask because I don't know, Jason. Do you write as well?
From time to time, yes, I've been known to write.
Okay, what do you write? What do you like to write?
He's prolific. Come on, dude.
Yeah. Are you like Jane? Are you?
In the dust.
I think I'm around 120 some odd stories out there, books
Oh
out
my
there.
Lord! Awesome. Sweet.
And I think
Mostly
you started around the same
some
time, right?
fantasy as well. What's that?
You started around the same time?
2009.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
We all started about the same time. You guys like put me way in the dust, but damn,
Well,
that's a lot.
I used to crank out one every 3 to 4 weeks, full-length novels, but
Okay.
last year and a half, 2 years, I've been really slowing down. Just life gets too busy.
Yep.
And Wilson, who commented earlier, he was part of the 2009 crew,
Mhm.
the old Accessica crew.
Yes. We're all Jessica rejects.
Yeah, Wilson's going to call me out because I made that poor bastard make most of my covers. So he felt really pain.
And he still cranks out the covers, man.
Oh,
He
yeah.
works hard.
He does. He's done all the covers for our authors as well. So
Joe, my brother was our lawn dart. Love it. Love it. Good stuff. Good stuff. So, are you guys? Well, of course, you guys are writing right now. I'm waiting for my publisher to do all the work for me so I can sweep in and like write a final paragraph to make it all seem like it was all me. But are you guys like finishing any projects right now? Do you have anything cool that's about to come up?
heavy sigh.
Heavy sigh.
The Grimm's Daughter book, Amazon actually did change the date for me, so I'm very happy. But that gives me much more time than I thought I had. So now I'm still stuck in okay, which book do I do? That one or the zombie apocalypse one that I started. So I'm going back and forth. I'm still not focused enough to really, bang out 500 words a day.
No, it's strange. We have it seems like we have so much more time now than we're used to, but I'm having a tough time focusing too. It's strange. I mean, and I'm working now, but not as much as I used to, and it's just like what I've got. Where is the drive? I don't seem to have it. It's really frustrating. Oh, don't rip my earbuds out. Oh.
No, I actually went I went the other way. With this quarantine, I've been a little more inspired, I guess. We're waiting on Wilson and I to finalize cover art on a sci-fi book, and then I've got another different series sci-fi book that I'm churning through a few thousand words a day when time permits. And it's, I don't know, I'm not driving to work anymore, so I got some extra time, and just I'm able to break away a couple hours, or every couple hours I'll break away from the day job and grab some weights and do something real quick just to keep myself going, and I just feel more energetic and more inspired these days. But
That's awesome.
I'm also not I was built for this quarantine thing. So this is I'm enjoying this. I've been planning how I can turn my entire subdivision into a armed compound to keep the raiders out. So
Well, you've got a mission, then that's
I'm
good.
ready to go. So
That's
yeah.
good.
Yeah, no, my day job, now that I'm remote, seems to be, instead of, 8 or 9 hours like normal, it seems to be 10, sometimes more, of meetings
Yeah.
back to back to back to back. And I'm like, oh, I'm not getting anything done because I'm not going to work all night on this either. And my husband's hours are insane. It's just like They're like, oh, you're home, you can do it. I'm like, I have other things. I'm supposed to shut off at this time. I'm supposed to stop being my day person and turn into J.E. Taylor at 5 a.m.
Julia, we should do a sprint tomorrow. We should get some people on board for sprinting tomorrow. Make it like first thing in the morning, like 8 a.m. for everybody. Yeah,
No, it's
they
Sunday.
love
No,
that.
10. So I don't have to get out of bed. I'm okay, I guess, in the quarantine, but because I've actually applied to go full-time remote because we're moving to New Hampshire. But it's just like not being able to get out, not being able to go to our beach place and walk the beach is just driving me a little batshit.
Yeah. It's strange. Yeah, it's strange. What about you, Katie? You doing any writing? I know you're super busy with your move and everything. Or do you have time for any writing?
I haven't figured out what normal is yet, and so it's been really hard to set aside time and to actually like schedule work time and homeschooling time and writing time. So every day is kind of a crapshoot. If I have client work, that always comes first because I got to pay the bills. Otherwise, I'm doing side projects, like I'm working on your novel to do some of the critiques on that. I do have a novel I'm working on, and it's just happening really, really slowly. So when it's done, it'll be done. I'm not putting a deadline on it right now because normal is just a thing of the past. So I can't, I can't do the 1,000 words a day like I used to do.
Yeah. Strange days. Oh, we've got a very long. We've got a couple very long comments from Merc Rain. Did you see those, Katie?
I see those.
I was trying to understand the first one.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Looks like they're telling a little bit of a story. Merc, I'm not gonna read them all because they're quite long, but it does look interesting. Yeah.
Sorry. I'm answering Wilson's question.
Oh yeah, Wilson.
You're writing a zombie apocalypse? Yes, I am. I had started it before all this pandemic stuff, but it's not pandemic related. It's just zombie.
So you've got zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
Jason, what have you got going on that you're working on?
It's a kind of hard to describe. It's a continuation of a series, I guess, urban, paranormal, whatever. It's definitely fantasy and sci-fi mixed together, and visiting using a magical portal to visit a negative world of Earth, kind of thing.
Cool.
But I have been inspired by COVID, and I'm actually there is a sickness that's spreading, and that's having a lot of fun with that.
Okay. Awesome. Katie, can you divulge anything about your work in progress?
I can't right now because I'm still working the plot out, but it is the 5th book in the Asset series. So for those who those who've read books 1 through 4, you already know what to expect.
Okay, awesome.
And Katie and I are
still figuring out what we can do because we want to tie in another series together, but we got to figure out the right one.
Right, and we want to be able to write in her world, not mine this time.
I enjoyed writing with Jane. I really did. We both meshed so well. Our writing styles are very similar, and I kind of appreciate the fact that she writes faster than me because she forces me to catch up. So it really, it's helpful to have a writing partner who's like making you work faster. I like that.
Yeah, 3 books in 6 months. So
we did good.
Yeah,
we did good.
Yes.
I cannot even fathom that. That is just awesome.
With two of us, it was easy.
Yeah, we had a lot of online meetings, and both of us keep similar schedules. So if we ever got stuck, it was like, hey, pop on real quick. Let's talk this through. Yeah. And, anytime we would hit the wall between talking for, half hour or whatever, we'd figure out the way through it and we would continue on. So it worked really well.
Right. Yeah, and my husband would pipe in every now and then when we're on the phone too, because usually we talked when we were in the car driving to or from me. So, she had me for 2 hours. She loved it.
It was a good experience, and you know, writing with other authors sometimes can be hard if you don't mesh well. Even two, you know, really brilliant authors may not work together well. So it's good to find a writing partner you can actually work with.
So
Yeah.
your co-writing experience, Jason, how did that work with you?
Well, the one I did, it was more of a mentorship, really. I said, "Hey, I like some of the stuff you've done. Would you like to, work with me, and I can introduce you to things and get you going on stuff?" And he jumped on it, and we hashed out, okay, this is the characters, this is what we kind of want to have to happen, and I would kind of provide guidance and edits and stuff along the way, and say, here's kind of the plot that I'm seeing, and he would come back, fire back what he thought, and then we would just kind of figure it out. He did most of the grunt work, um, and then I would come back and do the fine tuning, and then yeah, we'd get together and figure out, okay, how do we want this to work out exactly, and take it from there. So it wasn't truly. I don't really think it was truly a 50-50 partnership, along the lines of both of us being equally. I'm not even sure how to phrase it really without sounding like I was a jerk, but just kind of controlling what he was doing, because that wasn't the case. It wasn't how it felt at all. But I was leading him on to show him how to do things, and how to get things out there, and how to complete the story, and plot it out, and get it to where it needed to go. And it was a good experience for both of us.
Good. Yeah. So yeah, as Katie was saying, sometimes it doesn't work. I've heard horror stories that it didn't work, and it's great to have that pleasant experience. So I want to write with Katie again. So she obviously she wants to write with me again too. So that was kind of like, same reaction.
Aww.
You know, and I've done some co-writing with Wilson too. I know he's still listening out there, and writing with him, even though it was a different experience than writing with you, Jane, it was a good experience. We both had very similar visions. We both played to our strengths. And with Jason, or not Jason, sorry, with Wilson, he has such a lyrical way about how he writes things. I absolutely love the way the words flow when he writes them. So he handled a lot more of, any of the beautiful descriptions, the metaphors, all that stuff. And I kind of looked at the analytical side of things, was like, will this work? Will that work? And that was how we approached our writing. Whereas with Jane, you and I were like hopscotching chapters. I would get us to a point and go, I don't know what's going to happen next. And you're like, I've got it. And you would line it up. It was perfect.
Yeah. And then we'd layer.
Yes.
After that first one, we layered enough that my husband didn't recognize who wrote what.
See, and that's brilliant right there.
Yeah.
You can get to that point where it's a seamless.
Yeah.
And we've done our job right.
Yes.
That's awesome. I'm just starting my first co-writing project too, so I'm hoping that it works out as well as you guys have worked. But it's kind of with the boss lady, with Rebecca. Her and I are working on a project, so I'm sure it'll be good, because Rebecca's amazing and she's so fast at everything. So I imagine it'd be like, okay, I've got 50,000 words done, and I'm like, all right, I'm on 500.
She reads fast and gives feedback fast too.
I didn't realize that like real people could read that fast. It was pretty insane. Like the first time I sent her a book.
I'm reading too, so.
Well, I had sent her those little erotic short stories that I had done, and then I think that we got on a call like 5 minutes later, and as we were talking, she was reading them and finishing them real time while we were talking. I'm like, what the hell is happening here? I mean, if my wife came in the door right now and said something to me, I would be totally screwed. My brain would like explode, and I'd be like, what's happening? Where am I? What's going on? I'm just like, I can't talk on the phone and talk to other people at the same time. But so it's pretty amazing. And I'm excited to work with her because I don't know. I'm fairly realistic about what I can and can't write, and what my strong points are, what my weak points are, and I really feel like working with someone who has some good experience and good strength is going to be a cool experience for both of us. I really do. So hopefully, she doesn't want to kill herself after working with me. So
We're going to need updates on how this is going.
I'm going to give you updates. But if we have to work at Rebecca's speed, I'm sure that this book will be finished in a week. So who knows what's going on? Oh, it was a live show, Rebecca. Yeah, that was pretty wild. I could not believe what was happening, but anyhow, it was really cool. And Rebecca, I'm super excited to work with you.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do a live show and read and edit at the same time. I can't. I don't have the dual focus to do that. And I can multitask with the best of us, but none of the stuff that I do is going to be good when I multitask.
Yeah. Well,
I hear you on that. And for reading speed, I'm probably the slowest reader out there.
No,
absolutely. No, I'm really, really a slow reader. That's why I'm only on chapter 5 now, and I'm getting maybe 3 chapters a night when I'm doing the critique, because I want to make sure that I get everything. But 3 chapters is my max.
That's work though. I mean, you're not just pleasure reading. I mean, you're actually reading and working. You're critiquing stuff. I mean, which I appreciate so much. But yeah, it's way harder than just reading.
I'm not as fast as Rebecca, but I'm not that slow either. So.
Yeah, we know you're good at everything, J.E. Taylor. Come on now. Jesus.
I'm not as good as Jason, though.
Part of the slow reading, though. Jason, you can probably attest to this, because the slow reading, at least for me, it's my ADHD. I have hyper-focusing ADHD. I can only focus on one thing, and I'm super focused on that one thing. And once I'm squirreled off into something else, it screws everything up, and it's hard to regain that focus again.
Wait, oh, sorry, Katie. There's something going on in the comments here. What the hell is happening here? Joe says, by the way, Jason let the cat out of the bag, so am I free and clear on that right now? Joe, what are you free and clear about? Somebody tell me what the hell is happening. Oh, all right, come on, you guys type faster. Type faster. Come on. No, it takes me about a week to read like a 70 or 80,000 word novel.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, I'm not like I was when I was even in my 20s. I could like sit on the couch with a pillow on my back and just freaking blast through a book and just love it. Now I'm just like, okay, maybe I've got 2 chapters in me.
I read The Stand in one day.
Oh, God.
You just stop, Jane.
Okay, I remember
doing here?
being embarrassed in 1st grade because they put me in the slow readers group, and I have never sped up since, okay?
Yes. Were you in old 5s?
I was in the slow readers group. I could not read fast at all, and I still don't read fast, damn it.
We won the contest too.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I remember being amazed when I read Jurassic Park, because I finished it in like 6 hours and I couldn't believe it.
That was one of the coolest books.
Yep.
Just such a cool frickin' book. Yeah, but yeah, I read that fast too. And then I remember my first best friend, Adam Eby, and I went to see Jurassic Park in theaters on the day it opened, because we both read the book and we were obsessed with it. And we felt so special because we had actually read the book. Mm-hmm. And we weren't like the rest of those moviegoers that just went to the movie. But man, what a cool freaking book that was. Anyway, I lost track a little bit when you said Jurassic Park. That's my weakness. Oh, goodness.
All right, what is going on in the comments? Seriously,
I don't know. I
think there's like a secret conversation happening.
I don't even understand. And then
I don't either. I think we got hacked by somebody.
Yeah, Merc Rain says we are all doomed, but now we live a life where we don't laugh at others. We don't underestimate them. We don't judge anyone. We don't hate anyone. Oh, I feel like it's like some kind of poetry, Merc. I don't know you. We'd love to hear more about what you're writing. Yeah. Okay. Anyhow. Yep. Where were we, Katie?
Squirrel.
Oh, squirrel. Sorry. Oh, we were at the end of the show. That's where we were. Well, it's been a lovely chat with you guys tonight, and it's so good to meet a fellow Michigander, even though you are from the east side. And Katie, what did I tell you about flying into Detroit on the east side of the state? Why we don't do that? She might have forgotten. I said, you don't go to
remember.
Detroit. That's where you go to die.
Oh,
You-
I do
you
remember
fly-
you saying that. Yes.
No, I'm actually from South Central Michigan, and I just live here for work. So.
I see. I see.
Apparently, there's a comment that explains everything. We will have to find it.
Okay, whatever. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Jason. That was awesome. Thanks for bringing him on, Jane. That was really cool to meet your business partner, and and Katie, the train wreck. As always, you were great tonight, and you've got Christmas lights behind you now. I love
I know,
them.
pretty lights.
Isn't it pretty?
Those are really cool. Those are cool. I have, one of the ladies I work with made me a really cool sugar skull mask to wear because we have to wear masks.
Ooh.
But now another one of the ladies I work with is gonna make me a cool TARDIS one. And and when I saw the design, I immediately thought of you. I was like, "Oh, Katie would love this." It's
Where
so
can
friggin'
I
cool.
find one?
It's all handmade, baby.
Oh, does she sell them?
I don't think she does. I don't think she
Oh.
wants more business. I think it's just like I want to do this for a couple of people kind of thing.
That's awesome.
Which is cool. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us tonight and taking time out of your quarantine to visit with the Spilling Ink crew. We certainly appreciate it. If you like the show, share it around. You know what to do. Like it, share it, whatever you got to do, and then come join us next week. Bye. Wait, I got to
Bye.
hit the button.